Good afternoon again, everyone. It's Archivist David Thomas at the Cornwall Record Office at Truro. Welcome to another of our session of David's Dazzling Documents. Sometimes archives reflect the sadder times of society and life, as well as the pleasant ones, and the example we have on the table today is a mine plan of 1893 that tells the story of one of the great disasters of Cornish mining history. Let's have a closer look at the plan. It's a section of the Cargoldna section of a mine called Wheal Owles, and on this side of the plan we have an older mine called Wheal Dray, which by the time this plan was drawn up in 1893, this section of Wheal Dray was full of water. And on the 10th of January 1893, there was an incredible disaster which is still remembered and talked about in mining circles and in the parish of St Justin Penwith, down in West Cornwall. We can see the older workings of Wheal Dray and the newer workings of the Wheal Owles mine. And on the 10th of January 1893, the miners were working in the mine as normal in this area and below and some in the upper levels. And there were deficiencies in the dialling and the surveying of a man called Richard Boynes, who was the mine surveyor of Wheal Owles. And there was confusion between true north and magnetic north, which over a period of time from the 1840s right up to the 1890s had compounded. And down here in the 65 area level, about 390 feet below the surface, they thought that the loads from Wheal Dray and those of the Cargoldna lode in Wheal Owles were two different loads. In fact, they were one and the same because of the errors in the plans. And on this day, 10/1/1893, all of this water that was in this section of Wheal Dray broke through into the working section of the Cargoldna section of Wheal Owles. It was a terrible disaster, and it was said that the influx of the House of Water, as it was known, into the mine was preceded by a great rush of air, which drove out and extinguished all the miners' candles in the whole of the Cargoldna section of Wheal Owles mine. Imagine what it must have felt like to have been down there on that time. And below this 65 level, about 19 men and one boy lost their lives. And this plan is fairly unusual in that it indicates the supposed positions of these 20 people. So 6 here, 2 here, 2 here, 1 here, 2 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 1. The bodies were never ever recovered, and the engine of the mine could not pump out all of the water. It is said that it filled up to adit level in about 20 minutes. Imagine the terrifying scene if you were down in the lower levels of that mine at that time. It must have been absolutely terrifying. And today, if you walk along the cliffs at St Justin Penwith near this mine, you see the engine house of Wheal Edward at the top here. And this is the engine house actually recently, which has been used with wooden structures built against it in the semi-current series of the Poldark saga on television. So people can know that today. But below that, below ground level, there's a really dark story about one of the awful tragedies of Cornish mining. So I hope this has illuminated some of the history, the sad history of Cornish mining, and we hope that you will join us again for a future presentation in the future. Have a good evening.